Welcome to This Explainer, where we're opening the books on one of the most critical yet, let's be honest, misunderstood roles in the entire tech world, pre-sales. If you asked a few people this question, you might get some wildly different and sometimes pretty funny answers. While that's kind of amusing, that's not quite right. Let's fix that misconception right now. So here's how we're going to break it down for you. We've structured this like a mini MBA course, walking you through the what's, the how, and maybe most importantly, the why of this really strategic function. Okay, let's dive right into our first module and build a really clear foundation.
At its absolute core, pre-sales is the team that proves the product can actually do what the customer needs it to do. They're the ones who get technically real way before any contract gets signed.
I love this quote because it just nails it. It really illustrates their critical position. Think about it. They're taking the baton from sales to navigate the toughest, most technical part of the entire race. So this is absolutely crucial. You have to understand the distinction between the AE, the account executive, who owns the commercial relationship, and the SE or sales engineer who owns the technical credibility. One is focused on the deal, the other is focused on the truth of the solution. All right, so let's move on and see how this all works by looking at the actual tools and tactics pre-sales professionals are using every single day. A pre-sales professional is kind of like a secret weapon. They're a technologist, a business analyst, and a storyteller all rolled into one. It's a pretty unique skill set. Now, what's really interesting here is how demos evolve. They don't just do one demo. It starts broad, a general overview. But as the deal gets more serious, the demos get super specific, sometimes ending in these high-stakes, scripted bake-offs against competitors. The RFP. Responding to a request for proposal is this grueling, cross-functional effort. And guess who has to quarterback the whole thing to make sure it's technically accurate? Yep, pre-sales. This is a golden rule in pre-sales. It is a hard-learned lesson that prevents these projects from just dragging on forever. You have to define what winning looks like to get a clear yes or no. So a structured proof of concept, or a POC, isn't just a vague trial. It's a scientific experiment. It's designed from the ground up to prove the solution's value. It turns a gut feeling into cold, hard evidence. But pre-sales doesn't just work with customers. Their internal role, acting as a bridge between departments, that's where they provide just an immense amount of strategic value. And this gap, it leads to disappointed customers, failed projects, and totally damaged trust. It's a really, really costly problem for any tech company. And this right here brilliantly illustrates how pre-sales acts as that essential translator. They make sure the promises that are being made actually align with the reality of the technology. So, okay, if pre-sales is this important, how do we actually measure its impact on the bottom line? Let's talk numbers. Get this, an 18% reduction in how long it takes to close a deal. A structured pre-sales process doesn't just improve quality, it directly accelerates revenue by shortening the time it takes to get to yes. And it's not just about speed, it's about effectiveness. It turns out that deals guided by a strong pre-sales motion are significantly more likely to actually be won. This is just incredible. It demonstrates that strategic pre-sales isn't a cost center, it's a revenue multiplier. They can actively go in and increase the size of a deal, sometimes by a massive amount. So the takeaway here is pretty clear, right? Failing to invest in a strong pre-sales function creates severe, and I mean severe, risks across the entire business. So as we wrap this up, it's really worth asking, is this hugely strategic function being leveraged to its full potential in your own organization? Is it possible your biggest growth engine has been hiding there this whole time?